Hi, it's Jonathan, and welcome to another Grand Canyon trip video. Today, we are going on a motorcoach ride from the Grand Canyon Depot to some viewing spots on the Grand Canyon. During the ride, the tour guide shared some facts about things like the Grand Canyon and geology, so I put some text on the screen to display the facts as well. Also, you'll be getting an idea of how deep the Grand Canyon is. That's all for now, so enjoy! Now, onto the Grand Canyon. We've gone off our train here to get on our bus. One of these buses. Powered by natural gas. Modern and clean. Well, clean compared to diesel anyway. At least that's what I've heard. Correct me in the comment section. Second time I'd look it up. Grand Canyon National Park Lodge. 3 buses here. This one's 1181, that one's 1227. The third one I'm not sure. Right, I think the 1181's a bus. Or coach. Big coach. All I see are people on bicycles. Is that what you're talking about? It's also powered by compressed natural gas. Yes. I don't think I've ever been on any sort of motor coach before. Seen them, yes. Ridden them, no.
There.
Oh, not this one. Oh, it has a destination point. That's 1270.
Hi. Thank you. Welcome aboard.
Grand Tour. There's another 1180.
Alright, the lower high.
I'll go the high ones. That's freedom. Wrong ground. Now we're waiting for our next leg of the journey to depart. Last time we checked, I think the difference between the Grand Tour and the Freedom Tour is that with the Freedom, you could stay on the bus while lunch is coming.
Yeah, I think that one too is for people returning on the train, specifically today, where we're standing on.
Okay.
So we have like more time.
Okay.
Why would you see some good stuff? Don't do this. Don't go on. I wonder what happened to me.
Oh, a long gear taxi?
Well, I want to see more of it.
Sounds interesting.
Oh, you can take a donkey ride down to the But we're not doing that.
The description sounded interesting anyway. Troy Hawk Pizza. Oh, some of the buses are black.
Alright. So we're in downtown Grand Canyon Village. For a small village, we do happen to have a large collection of historic buildings found in the national park. The building straight in front of us is the old power generating house, the one with the stone face. So that style of architecture is known as National Park Rustic, which is defined as being made up from local timber, local rock, and then has a look like it was put together with hand tools. It was built in the 20s. This barn and the next barn beyond on the right, these were built in the 1900s. The early 1900s. The 2-story building across the street, that is the old Wranglers Bunk house. It's now Human Resources. All right, let's go. Thank you.
It's the bus stop for others.
All right. So this barn here, early 1900s. This little building on the left, this is the oldest continuous working blacksmith shop in the country.
Ooh.
And then on your left, these are my co-workers. These are the famous Grand Canyon mules. Mules are a hybrid animal. They cannot reproduce on their own. Anybody know how you go about getting a mule?
Drinks.
What was that? Yep, you got it. Do you know which sex is which? If you were to use a male horse, female donkey known as a jenny, you get what's known as a henny. Not the same animal, different smarts, personality, and temperament. So for a mule, it would be a female horse, male donkey, or jackass. So what's that tell you? Jackasses are needed in the world. They have a purpose. So the next time you are dealing with somebody expressing that kind of behavior, just remember Grand Canyon needs their mules. Alrighty, so tips and tricks of dealing with the crowds. If you need to go to the bathroom first, don't. Alright, you want to go through the buffet line. If you go to the bathroom first, what's going to happen is the next bus is going to get in between, and that will cause you to be late. Now, what you want to do is go through the buffet line, then put your food down, then go to the restroom. If you wait till you finish eating, what's going to happen is the other buses are doing the exact same thing, and that will cause you to be late. So to avoid lines, go through the buffet line, put your food down, then go to the restroom. Alright? That way you won't experience lines. Now you can, if you want, you can leave your gear on the bus. Just be aware, I do not lock the bus. I'm going to leave the door open so wind blows through here so the heat doesn't build up. And I will give you the time to be back, and that is the time the wheels are rolling. So you want to be actually back a couple minutes before that. It's kind of hard to get on the bus when the wheels are rolling. We're going off-roading with the city bus.
Off-roading with a city bus.
Going on a little tiny trail.
Not easy. This isn't easy either.
Has anybody seen the clouds of gold? The pinyon pines are producing a lot of freaking pollen right now. And when the wind blows, it blows the pollen off the trees and you see these gold clouds.
We're going to stay in one of these little things today,
Yeah.
I think. Be held up.
Yeah.
We're getting some new buildings. This is what the new place is going to look like.
Yes.
Getting new buildings. Yeah.
Alrighty, so I've got 1:07. 2 o'clocks. 2 o'clock.
Alright.
Wheels are rolling at 2 o'clock.
So we want to get back here.
Oh,
And what you're going to do is you're going to go right up the steps there, through the double doors. I'm going to need everybody's attention. This is safety's sake. Okay? So we're going to be going to a couple different viewpoints. You want to be really careful at the viewpoints. You're going to encounter stone walls, railings, or nothing at all. So respect the edge, give it some distance, hang on to the kids. If you're wearing a hat, the wind blows it off, let it go, okay? We had a gentleman reflex right into the canyon after his hat lost his life. Next you want to watch where you're putting every footstep. Coming down off the landing there, on and off the bus. At the viewpoints, you're going to encounter pavement, natural stone. The natural stone is very uneven, large cracks, tree roots going through it. So you don't want to be walking and looking at the canyon at the same time. That is a recipe for disaster. Watch where you're going, stop, then look at the canyon. We had the marketing director here from Yelp a year ago in July. She was moving out of the way so people could pass her. She tripped over her feet, fell into the canyon, lost her life. So it can be totally safe, or it can be the opposite. As long as you have your awareness about you. You guys are on vacation, who wants to be in that frame of mind? That's fine, give it more distance, okay? That way, if one of the black carpenter bees goes to check you out, you got room to get away from it. Or if a little creature runs by you, causes you to jump, you have something to land on. Alrighty? Kids, parents, please no throwing anything into the canyon. There are hiking trails down there, it could hurt somebody. And the scientists could be rappelling off the walls, studying the rocks and stuff. So please don't throw anything into the canyon. Now, regardless of what I said, you're going to see crazy stuff out there. You're going to see people right on the edge. What you are witnessing is Darwin theory in action. It's the calling of the herd. So being a large national park, we have become a large laboratory for earth scientists. This is the last place Mother Nature's allowed to play out as she's meant to play out. They're banking on us to utilize our common sense to keep ourselves safe. And if we can't, then maybe it is better that we do remove ourselves from the gene pool prior to voting and childbearing. Again, please no eating on the bus. You can eat at the viewpoints, just be aware of the items as they lighten up, that they don't get carried into the canyon. Drinks, as long as you can tighten the lid, so open soda cans, coffee cups with lids. If it spills before I can get to it, somebody can slip and fall. Alrighty? And then one last thing. I dug into the archives and I found some of the earliest videos of the carving of the canyon. You guys want to see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got a really big screen here.
What is she gonna do?
No, honey, let's go over.
What is she
Just
doing?
she had like a screen or something. Put on her phone.
What? 1181's the party.
Here we go.
Boy, the Grand Canyon. That's one of nature's wonders. Let's take a look.
So that's the Grand Canyon, huh?
That's it.
Now, it looks like much to me.
Not now, but they expect it to be a big red chapter.
So we're gonna go find out if Fred was right.
About
Alright, you guys ready?
Yay!
If you see any animals, call it out loudly because of the air system, so I can hear you, and I will do my best to slow down depending on the situation. Alrighty?
in case you didn't know, that was a segment of an old-fashioned television show called Flintstones. And what would let's go see if Fred was right. What was he?
Because they were cavemen, so the Grand Canyon was just a creek. It hadn't been carved out yet.
Oh,
You get it? It was a little prehistoric humor there.
prehistoric humor.
You see some stuff.
Alrighty. So one of the benefits of working here we get to work, those of us that work here, we get to live here inside the park. So these cabins here and the cabins on the left They used to be in the inventory for renting out. They're now being utilized for housing employees. So we have cabins, we have dorm rooms, apartments, townhomes, single-family homes, and RV lots for people in RVs. We're one of the few national parks with a public school, and we're the only national park kindergarten through 12th. So the kids, they go to school Monday through Thursdays. They already got out in May, like around May 24th. And then they graduate with a very strong environmental ethos. When they graduate, the graduation ceremony is held up on the rim of the canyon. Over here on the right, these are apartments. That's our housing. And then coming up on your left, this gray building. This is the men's dorm, Victor Hall, built in 1937, designed by Mary J. Coulter. She was a female architect at the turn of the century. That great building. They also call it Animal House. And then across the street you can see the chimney with the stones. Those are historic single-family homes, the National Park rustic style. I live a block straight up there. I'm on the first floor, and I have a large picture window. Every morning when I'm having my coffee, watching the news, I can see the herds of deer and elk come through now this time of year with all their brand new babies.
Hey. Horses.
Mules.
Mules.
That's what you ride down in.
All right, we have a really nice example of the National Park rustic style architecture. It's coming up on the right. It's going to be on our left as I make this turn. This is the Rangers Operations Building, built in the 20s. So you can see the local timber on the corners and the local rock. Isn't this a gorgeous building? On your left. Now this area where they widened it for parking, this used to be the entrance to the park. It's now about 5 miles away. And then our school is up here on the right, the big building, not the little one. So they're having summer school right now. They get out around 12 here. So this is the school on your right. Now,
There's the school.
look through the trees on your right. See that roof through the trees there? That's our recreation center. So on Friday nights, the rec center has the latest showing, complimentary showing of the latest DVD that comes out. They also offer complimentary lemonade and popcorn. We'll take our own lawn chairs, it's much more comfortable. And if we go during the fall when the elk are rutting, after the movies we go out back and watch the elk rut, and that's our Friday night here. Has anybody ever seen the TV series Northern Exposure? That's what it's like to live here. Coming up on our left, there's a street. This is our large single-family neighborhood. And this street coming up, you can look down and get an idea what the neighborhood looks like. Park Service will block that off, close it off during Halloween, so the kids can walk through the neighborhood safely, trick-or-treating. So one of the benefits of living here, you don't have to worry about landscaping. You leave it be, let it to the animals, they do all the trimming for you. So you do want to keep your eyes in the woods. You do have a chance of seeing Rocky Mountain elk, mule deer, coyotes, gray foxes, red foxes, kit foxes, cougars, bobcats, javelinas, raccoons, ringtails, coatimundis, around the rim into the canyon, bighorn sheep, up in the skies, California condors, bald eagles, and golden eagles. So I'm going to tell tell you about the canyon. That way when you get to the viewpoint, you'll know what you're looking at, what it means. So the Grand Canyon is 277 river miles long, on the average about 1 vertical mile deep, and then on the average about 10 miles wide. What makes the canyon so unique is that the rock strata is exposed. We do have other canyons in the world that are either bigger, deeper, longer, or wider, but the rock strata is covered in plant life, so it's totally different. Copper Canyon out of Mexico, 4 times bigger than the Grand Canyon. But there's no other place on this planet with this much geological history exposed. Now, how many of you all know your rock types and the rock cycle? Anybody? The little ones? Yep, usually it's the little ones. Okay, parents, time for you to catch up with the kids. So, when you look through the woods, see this rock popping up through the soil? This is our top layer, and this is known as Kaibab Limestone. This rock is 270 million years old. Now, it's the first type of rock, sedimentary. Little sediments cemented together harden to form rock. It's what the canyon is mainly made up of. It's one of the softest of the rocks, but the most important feature of it, it's where we find the most fossils. So concrete is a man-made sedimentary rock. Concrete, what is it known to do in the wintertime? Crack. Same thing with sedimentary. So the nature of the canyon is to crack and crumble. It is still very much growing, like Fred said. Alright, now the next type of rock we have is known as metamorphic rock. As the name implies, it goes through a change being buried deep beneath the surface. Heat and pressure will alter it. It makes it harder. And then if there were any fossils in the source rock, more than likely it gets damaged or destroyed through the heat and pressure process. So we do have metamorphic rock at the very bottom of the canyon. It's where the river is flowing. That rock is known as Vishnu schist. It's 1.8 billion years old, almost half the age of the planet. Now, to give you an idea of a metamorphic rock, if you were to take the limestone, which is sedimentary, put it through the heat and pressure process, you would end up with marble. So marble is the harder flavor of limestone. And then our last type of rock is known as igneous rock. That means from fire. So at one point it's liquid. If it's liquid in the ground, it's known as magma. Liquid and breaks free of the ground, it turns into lava. So we do have a volcanic cone to the west of us on the north rim. It's flowed many times, damming up the river, creating a reservoir of water that backed up as far as Moab, Utah. So how many of you all are familiar with granite or granite countertops? Anybody? Okay, so if you notice with the granite, you can see the crystals in the granite with your naked eye. Anytime you see rocks with crystals, the crystal portion tells you it was liquid. When it cooled off and hardened, it did so underground slowly, giving the crystals a chance to grow. If it cooled off above ground, it would do so very quickly, and you would not be able to see the crystals with your naked eye. Obsidian would be one of those rocks. Now, we use an acronym to describe how the canyon was formed. It's called DUDE. That stands for deposition, uplift, downcutting, and erosion. So during the deposition, many different environments were present when the sediments were laid down. So the limestone tells us warm, shallow seas covered this area, supporting a coral reef that was comparable to the Great Barrier Reef. We have sandstones. The sandstones indicate either a beach environment or it could have been a desert with sand dunes. So depending on the type of fossils they find in the sandstone would determine whether it was beach or desert. And then the last are the shales, what's creating the great slopes out there. That indicates a tidal environment, coastal marshes or coastal swamps. So that would be equivalent to the coastlines of Florida. Next we have is the uplift. Oh, we got elk on the left, or right, on the right, on my other right. That is oh, here's a deer. We got a deer right behind this bush. Right there.
Is it behind there?
Everybody see them? No. Alright. So the next we have is the uplift. In a mountain building event, the crust would get crinkled up like an accordion raised up, but you'll notice ours didn't happen like that. Picture a layered sheet cake, the whole thing rising up. We are on what's known as the Colorado Plateau. That's about 130,000 square miles, and I'll pick that up in a minute. Can I get everybody close your eyes? No peeking. If you peek, you're walking. Alright, and I can tell if you're peeking. Keep your eyes closed. I'll tell you when to open. Keep them closed. Turn your head to the left. Keep them closed. Okay, you can open.
Oh God, here it is.
That is my backyard.
Wow. What a backyard.
Alright. So, the Colorado Plateau is about 130,000 square miles. It happens to have one of the highest concentrations of national parks, national monuments, public lands, and then some of the most unique erosional features found on the planet. It's a very large laboratory for earth scientists. They've acquired quite a bit of knowledge studying rock records here, past life forms, and the environments these creatures existed in. Next we have is the down cutting. So the river started flowing over the soft sedimentary rock, like in the video, started cutting through it pretty quick. Then it hit that hard metamorphic rock at the bottom that brought the cutting action to a screeching halt. Now the goal of the river is to reach sea level, so it's going to continue to try to cut through that hard metamorphic rock. Is just going to take forever. The rate it's cutting through there is less than the thickness of a sheet of paper per year. Very slow going.
Oh, you're going on the bus route, Yaqui Point Road. Only buses are allowed on this part.
And then the last is erosion.
Residents.
That's transporting the material out of this area. So when the Spanish conquistadors first laid their eyes on the river, it was a creamy red-brown. So they named it Colorado, which interprets to red. What they were witnessing was a sediment load in the water column. Look to your left. See how red the soil is? That's the color that the river was flowing. Now, at one point, those sediments will settle out of the water column, get deposited, accumulate, cement together, harden, and form rock. And that's just one of our rock cycles here. So we're coming up on our first viewpoint. This is Yaqui Point. We spell it Y-A-K-I, Yaqui. It's named after a Native American tribe found south of Tucson into Mexico. Their desert culture. They spell their name Y-A-Q-U-I, Yaqui. And then we will be having the shuttle bus come in here. So you want to be very careful. Your goal is to, once you start getting off the bus, you want to get out of the road quickly. They're trying to make up time wherever they can. They don't like to put on the brakes when you're in the middle of the road. They see you as squirrels. And then if you need the restroom, please use it first before you go see the canyon. You don't want to get stuck in line when it's time to leave. The restroom out here is designed to where you don't want to stand there long. There's no heat, no air, no running water, and then you'll see the black chimney for methane gas. If you hear thunder or if you see lightning, you want to stay clear of that building. It would be pretty. And I will give you the time to be back on the bus. See the color of this over here on the right? That's the color the river is flowing right there. See how red that is?
The Colorado River is the
Okay,
Colorado
so
River.
here's your little bathroom right there. That's a one stall setup, and there's a line.
Alright, we're gonna be really careful. Okay. Really, really careful. Holy cow.
There's the Grand Canyon. 1179. That's probably what the residence has been.
Give me a second, I'm gonna back up a second.
The bus has a backup thing. There's a backup noise, of course.
Okay. So wheels are rolling at 235. Make it 240. 240. And watch your step.
Right after I recorded this, my mom said, "Holy cow," and indeed, the distance between here and over there, clearly immense. A bit of sprinkling. I feel a bit of sprinkling over here. Ooh. I always hear the phrase, "Don't look down."
Yeah, I
well,
just got rained on.
well,
You want to take a picture of this right here?
zooming out, it looks. I can't even see the bottom from down here. Well, I can clearly see the. I can kind of see the edge here.
Wow.
The Grand Canyon, no drone zone.
The weather coming down right there. Alright.
It's raining and
Look at the weather and clouds coming down right there.
I had to rotate the screen on my camera just to keep it from getting wet. Screen to view, I think, as it's filming. Here to take another look at the Grand Canyon. And, well, there's... Since there's a fence, we could go closer.
You wanna look at me?
Yeah.
Nice.
Hey, there's a crack in there. Must be
I
the
think it's a
Colorado.
trail.
There.
Like it looks like a road.
See where I'm pointing?
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Savvy
Down
time.
in the middle of that, there's definitely water down in there.
That must be the Colorado River down there.
Yeah. It looks like a painting. Looks fake. It's not even real.
Looks like looks like a picture, but hey, I've seen this in more pictures.
You want to go up?
I've seen this more in pictures than in person. Oh. Hey, it's the bus stop for the village bus. For the village shuttle buses. Now we're closer to the canyon. Well, in another view of the canyon. Woo!
Yeah.
There's grass here. A bit of wind.
You see the stratifications though? Oh, there's like rose color.
I can't see the stratification. Anyway, I think I see the stratification here.
Yeah. Let's go up a little.
One layer is different from another layer. We're here again.
Would you want to take a mule ride down to the bottom? I think that's what, see like that zigzaggy thing there? That's a trail, right?
Yeah.
I think I've heard about these trails. However long it takes to get out, it takes twice as long to get up. And
It would take me longer than twice as long.
and over down here somewhere is some greenness. Plants and grass and bushes down there.
We're gonna start to sprinkle.
Yeah.
The clouds are above us. You can see the shadows of them right here.
Uh-huh. Right there.
Shadows.
One more.
These things even cast shadows.
Here, baby. Oh, let me put those back in my.
Very visible shadows.
No, dude, we don't lose them.
Here, a bit more. There's no fence here. Well, you didn't want to fall off of there. A tour lady once said that that there is no trampoline at the bottom of the canyon. And I see exactly where it'd be a problem. After taking some gazing at the Grand Canyon, we'll be departing.
It's getting stormy.
Yeah.
Oh, look, dust devil.
Dust devil? What? Well, where?
It just blew up. Oh, that's blowing all that dust.
Okay, everybody clap for him.
Walking along the rim of the canyon. If you guys get a chance, take a look at this. This is different personalities of the canyon. So take a look, pass it on back, straight back, and then come back up this way. Okay, everybody's got their loved ones?
Does anybody think this is a shuttle bus? Would you fess up to it if you did?
No.
Okay, so I am a tour bus. Alrighty, so we're gonna head on out. It does happen. We can end up with the same number of people, different faces. And everybody's got their loved ones? Okay.
Loved one.
You guys ready for the wild information?
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, when you look out over the land, over here, see the land way over there? Realize the land used to go a mile higher. We are missing a mile of sediments. They've already worn away from here. If you go up into southern Utah, northern Arizona, those layers are still intact up there. So picture a set of stairs. The top step would be the rock formation at Bryce Canyon National Park. Their rocks go back 80 million years ago.
Oh my gosh.
Now the bottom layer of Bryce is the top layer of the next step, which would be the rock formation at Zion National Park. Zion's rocks go back 180 million years ago. Now the bottom layer of Zion is the top layer of the next step, which would be the layers of the Grand Canyon, and ours start at 270 million. Is that crazy or what?
Yes.
Yes.
So,
It's crazy.
has anybody ever heard of Escalante National Monument? Okay, so Escalante and Bears Ears, those are the two national monuments that they're downsizing, cutting in half. And Escalante interprets to the staircase, so the land literally looks like a bunch of stairs. And this is on the Colorado Plateau. So what it is sediment rock. Miles and miles of sediment rock. What's sedimentary rock known for? Fossils. So that is history, information about the history of the planet. I'll go back into that in a minute. This is our Yaqui barn set up here on the right. So they handle the Grand Canyon Vista ride, and they mount up on the right side, they cross the road, walk through the woods, come out on the rim of the canyon, and they ride along the rim. They're in the saddle for about 2 hours. We also have an overnight ride down into the canyon. It leaves from the village area. They go down the Bright Angel Trail, stay overnight at Phantom Ranch, which is our lodging at the bottom. Then they come out the next day on the South Kaibab Trail, which would put them out at that barn there. Now, everything that they need to operate Phantom Ranch, it's all brought in by pack mules. So the pack mules work out of this barn. Can everybody see the clouds of dust blowing off the trees? That's all pollen blowing off. It's blowing off the pinyon pines. So it looks like we may end up having a bumper crop this year. Anybody like pine nuts?
Yeah.
The very expensive nuts you get in the stores. It comes from the pinyon pine. So the nuts develop inside the pine cone. September, October, the pine cones will open up and drop the nuts. This road that we're on, further to the east, you will see cars parked like this all over the place, well off the road. And if you look into the woods, you'll see families of Native Americans down on their knees. They're gathering pine nuts. Park Service allows them to do that because historically, this is their ancestral lands. Let me point out a pine, pinyon pine. See this smaller tree, black bark, 1-inch pine needles? That is pinyon pine. The large needles is the ponderosa pine. So here is, that one right there is a pinyon. That's the one we get the pine nuts from. That tree right there. Now this one on the left side, the real tall one, it's got long long needles, about 5 inches long. This is a ponderosa. If the bark is black, they're known as blackjacks, and they're under 160 years old. If the bark is orange or red, they're known as yellow bellies, and they're over 160 years old. All right, let me show you the Utah Juniper. As soon as I find one. Okay.
Charter pass.
So there's this one tree, it's gray, and the bark is very peely. It's called the Utah Juniper. You'll see clumps of material in the canopy. Let's see. Usually the clumps start out in olive green, a dark olive green. So the tree in front of us, straight in front of us, it's half the size of the ponderosa. And you can see the dark clumps in the canopy. Everybody see that on your left? Right there. Those clumps are mistletoe. And mistletoe is a nasty parasite. It taps into the vascular system of the tree. And what the juniper does, it'll start to deny it nutrients to the areas where the mistletoe is. So look to your right of this sign. See the orange balls in the tree? That's the mistletoe feeling the denial of nutrients. So it's slowly killing it. So the Utah juniper is killing itself trying to survive the mistletoe. If you take a look up here, next to this brown sign to the right of it, you'll see how sad the junipers look because they're denying nutrients. Right, these trees here. See how sad it is? Now that gray peely bark, we have one other shrub. See these with white flowers? They have a gray peely bark too. Their bark is actually softer. So Native Americans will use that bark for bedding, diapers, when women are in the moon phase, also for clothing. And then the junipers produce a sky blue berry. Anybody know what we use those berries for? Gin, yep. And then inside the berries are these little brown nuts. They call them ghost beads. So my eyeglass holder is made with the juniper nuts, the ghost beads. They wear those they string them with seed beads and wear those to ward off nightmares and negative energies. So when you and I, we look into the woods, we see woods. When Native Americans look into the woods, they see Walmart. This is our visitor center on the right. And then these green and white shuttles, these are totally free shuttle buses. Keep your eyes open for animals. Everybody noticing all the damaged trees. This is from warmer temperatures. We're about 7,000 feet here.
Wow.
So historically, they may have gotten 2 weeks in the summer in the mid-90s. I've been here for 10 years and I've seen the month of June, May, and then right after that, the month of June in the mid-90s consecutively. The last couple summers, we've been seeing temps up to like 104, 106 at 7,000 feet, which is unheard of. The trees, where you and I, we can get out of this and go into a climate-controlled environment, the trees cannot. They have to learn to deal with it, and they're not doing very well. See this tree? They're pulling up by the roots, too. They're so stressed out when the ground starts to thaw from the winter. We get high winds, that soil is soft, and they're just tipping over by the roots. Okay, we got some wildlife. These are Homo sapiens on your right. That is the most common species found in the park. Now, Homo sapiens, elk on the left, elk on the left.
Oh, I see it. Oh, shoot, it's right behind that tree.
Just in case you didn't know, you're a Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens is humans.
Hiding behind the tree over there.
Can you see it? Through the trees, probably about 50 feet.
I lost it.
You can't miss the tawny rear end. Oh, there's another one. There's a little boy. A little bull.
Oh, there he is. through the trees.
He's just got two spikes. All right.
I think I saw
So
something.
the Homo sapiens, they have a tendency to mate for life. Now, with most other species, the males are colorful, females are drabby. But with Homo sapiens, it's the females that are colorful, the males are drabby. And then you'll notice that they move throughout the park in small little herds, and usually the one leading the herd is lost. We're coming up on our second viewpoint. This is Yavapai Point. Anytime you hear Pi in the name, Pi means people. So Yavapai is people of the sun. They're a desert culture, Native American, and they're found further to the south. So I'm going to be parked right over here. Over here. But I'm going to let you off up here. Cut out some of your... Right to your left where those long parking spaces are, that's where I'm going to be parked. Okay. So what you want to do, you're going to go straight out there. Alright? And the time wheels are rolling at 3:20. 3:20. Alright, so you want to be back on the bus 1 or 2 minutes beforehand.
We're at yet another view of the Grand Canyon, and this time I could see the bottom. Down there in the somewhere in that crack is the Colorado River, presumably. I actually don't see it. You see trails there. Telescope. I didn't think I could take you on this ride, but I'll see what I can do.
Does it work?
Ish.
Ish, yeah.
There's a bridge
See, they
somewhere
got like
down there.
little rests you can put it on too. What's that show you?
It says you... 400-foot bridge somewhere down there.
Oh, that's not gonna work.
Can I look through it?
Can you see it? Hold on.
That's just a hole. But it orientates you to things.
The first, what you just saw was a Zoroaster. Walk up somewhere else.
Did you look down this way?
Yeah.
Be careful.
Look. Oh god, it kind of gives you vertigo.
Mm-hmm.
And all these just weird little trails all over the place that people obviously use.
Down in that valley there.
Yeah,
Is that a trail down there or a river?
I think it's a trail.
What is the... I don't see the... We've resumed our trip. There's another break. And there's Grand Canyon Village Shuttle number 7 on the orange route. A natural gas powered bus. Similar to those operating in various other cities, including in San Diego, where we came from, well, where I came from, and where we started watching this series.
The important question, anybody here think this is a shuttle bus?
No.
Would you fess up if you did?
Yes, I have.
Alrighty. So, and everybody's got their loved ones, right? How many people are staying overnight tonight inside the park? Okay, Maswick for most of you?
Staying.
Okay, Thunderbird. Anybody else at a different lodge? Okay, everybody's at Thunderbird except for you guys. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to go into that. Okay. So, here's the deal. Rooms generally are not ready until a little after 4. Now, I can drop you off after the train station at Maswick. For you, sir, getting off at the train station. And then you just go down to Bright Angel. You'll check in Bright Angel for Thunderbird. Alrighty? And you can go through the line. They'll check you in. But if the room has not been inspected, which comes after being cleaned, they will not give you the keys to the room. Then you have to go back through the line again to get your keys. So what I recommend is getting off at the train station and utilize that time for exploring some of these historic buildings. El Tabar, Hobie House, Bird Camps. If you make it down to the backside of Bright Angel, you got Lookout Studio, Cope Studio. Now, you've seen these green and white buses. They are shuttle buses, free shuttle buses. So, they will only pick you up if you're at the bus stop. Alright? So there is a bus stop in front of El Tabar on the main road level. And if you catch the bus there, you're 3 stops away from Maswick, or 1 stop from Bright Angel. If you go make your way down to Bright Angel, exploring the historic buildings, there is a bus stop on the southeast corner of Bright Angel on the main road. And if you catch the bus there, you're 2 stops away from Maswick. It drops you off right in front where you would check in at. Alright? Now, those of you staying overnight, you may want to be interested in the sunset tour. The shuttle buses do go out to the west. Just be ready for crowds. And when it's time to come back, they will cram you in there like sardines. Alright? So the sunset tour, you would get a guaranteed seat. Kids 16 and under are free. So you just be paying for the adults. That departs Maswick at 6:10 from Bright Angel. Alright, so there's an option. There's also Desert View Sunset. They're going to be leaving like at 3:50, so that's a 4-hour tour to the east. On the way back, they stop off at Yaqui Point to watch the sunset. Now, everybody's staying overnight tonight. Even those of you that are staying in Williams. If you go on the back side of Williams, the mountain, you should get away from, that should get you away from the city lights. And you want to keep looking at the sky, because at one point these clouds will blow out and you can see a boatload of stars. We can still see the Milky Way here. So the pictures of the Milky Way in the book, I took those inside the park. Most of those pictures, not the nighttime pictures, but the day pictures, those were taken with cell phones while I was out on tour. And then you want to keep your ears open. You may end up hearing the elk bugling, the moms calling the kids, or you may end up hearing the coyotes sing. Usually that means somebody just lost their kitty cat in the house.
Oh no.
And then if you hear something that sounds like a woman screaming bloody murder, like she's getting murdered, that usually is a fox. But then again, it could be somebody getting murdered. Usually it's a fox. Alrighty. Anybody have any questions? Now, for everybody, when you're going back on the train, whether it be today, tomorrow, whatever day, if you're going back on the second train. Officially, the train is going to start boarding at 4:15. They're going to pull up the stool and close the door at 4:25. They will depart promptly at 4:30. You can set your watch to it. They're not going to do a head count. They're not going to do a roll call. They just split. So it's just like public transportation. You really want to pay attention to your time. If you're catching the first train tomorrow, just back that up an hour. So 3:15 they'll officially start boarding. 3:25 they pull up the stool. 3:30 they depart. Alrighty? Now straight ahead, up on top of the hill, that is the famous El Tabar Hotel, built in 1905 by the Santa Fe Railroad. Charles Whittlesey was the architect. Mary Jane Coulter designed the interior. How many people has seen Vacation with Chevy Chase? Okay, so when the Griswolds arrived at the canyon, it was filmed right up that hill in front of El Tabar.
There's 67, 76.
So those of you that want to explore some of the buildings before going over to Maswick, this bus stop right here, that would be 3 stops away from Maswick. This building here, have you heard of the Harvey Girls?
Yeah.
This is where the Harvey Girls used to live. So that's Culture Hall, the women's dorm, built in 1937. So the Harvey Girls had a major presence here. I'm a Harvey girl. Our company purchased Fred Harvey Company in 1968. Wow. The women used to do the tours. This is the Bright Angel bus stop. And then this is Bright Angel Lodge here. This flavor of it was built in 1935, designed by Mary Jane Coulter. They have a history room off the main lobby with exhibits on the Fred Harvey Company and the Harvey Girls. So these cabins are part of Bright Angel. You can rent those cabins. They do have some cabins up on the rim with partial views of the canyon, and then some of those have got fireplaces. That's the Stone Corral on your right. That's where the mule riders meet their mules and then head into the canyon for an overnight stay. For sunset, that's the crowd you have to go through. That's mild right now. It gets really crowded out there.
I'll be filming a train while I'm riding a bus.
See, 3:30, right on the dot. They don't mess around. If you want to ride to Maswick, stay on the bus. But you may just be sitting over at Maswick for a while. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Those of you that have already expressed your appreciation, thank you very much. Thank you. Now, when you go to get up from your seat, please turn around and look back at your seat. Did a cell phone slip out of your pocket? Did anything slip out? Did anything fall on the floor? And then if you utilize the shelving up top, make sure you turn around and look that you got everything from up there. All right?
We're gonna
So
stay on the bus
they're
with the ride
connecting
to our
where they
hotel.
connected. They're gonna move that
How's
forward
that sound?
as soon as the other train gets out of the way.
That was pretty neat how they split the train that we were on.
Let's see, we'll go right up here. Alrighty. Again, if you want to ride to Maswick, just stay on the bus. They're on that sunset tour. When you see them cramming everybody into the shuttle buses, you're so glad you're not involved in that. Yep, did anybody hear about my call for, you still have time to get tickets for the sunset tour? Avoid the crowds, the experience of what it's like to be a sardine. That was me. And having the bus with you, if we get thunder or lightning, you can get on the bus. The tour guides, we park to where, if that's the case, you can still see the sunset from within the bus. And what I do, I start helping my people take photography of the lightning over the canyon, which is quite incredible. So the sunsets, they didn't even know it set. They didn't care. They were too into getting the lightning over the canyon. Monsoon storm sunsets are really pretty. You see the little toy for the mules? That little ball with the handle? Yeah, they gave them one to play with. Did you see that van right here? Those are international students. This van right here. Take a look at the windshield. See the front of their car? That's what happens when an elk hits your car. That's not a deer, that's an elk. So a deer is more the grill work, an elk is the windshield and the roof. Yeah. So those kids, they're students from Thailand. They are here for a year, so they decided to get a van. Evidently, they forgot to get the deer whistles. I have those on my vehicle. I drive like they don't work, but I swear they do work. Every time I encounter a large animal, they're walking away from the road. But I do notice it calls the chipmunks the mice, but the big animals it repels. I don't know. I haven't heard. So not hearing, I would imagine they're okay. They probably won't get insurance anymore. Okay, so what you're gonna do now, you're not gonna go up to that patio there. What you're gonna do is cross the street here. See where the people with the black shirts just came out and the guy with the black shirt going in? That's where you want to go into.
This episode has taught me quite a bit about geology, the Grand Canyon, history, and more. Soon I'll release part 5 of the Grand Canyon trip, which will be the train ride back to Williams, and part 6, which will be the road trip back to San Diego. This series will finish by June 21st, the 1-year anniversary of the last of our Grand Canyon trip footage. Until then, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like on it. If you enjoyed the entire channel, subscribe to it. And if you want to know when my next video will be coming out, click the bell button after you subscribe. Ding-a-ling-ling-ling-ling-ling-ling. I'll see you in the next video.